Lies. We're told not to tell them when we're little. Yet as we get older, it just seems like a lot of what we read and watch can be made up of lies. Some of the biggest lies we've encountered in our lives have been broadcast on TV for all the world to watch. As you'll see, from political promises to presidential statements to world events, television has broadcast more than a few big fat lies into our living rooms. The Mexican Wall. Heading into the 2016 U.S. presidential election, one of the most interesting claims comes from Republican frontrunner Donald Trump, who says he'll be building a wall between Mexico and the U.S. and make Mexico pay for all of it. Trump has been telling people the massive trade deficit with Mexico means they will be obliged to pay. Unfortunately, this is one massive lie. The billions of dollars that have exchanged hands has occurred between various companies, not the two governments. All Trump's claim shows is that he doesn't get how trade agreements, surpluses, and deficits work. The weapons of mass destruction. This lie was so big and had such a big impact that references to it continue to show up in various movies and programs. In early 2003, the United States was putting pressure on Iraq to let inspectors in to examine chemical and biological weapons. In a well-publicized presentation shown on news programs across the world, Colin Powell gave evidence that Iraq was building a large stockpile of dangerous weapons. In fact, no operational facilities or usable stockpiles of weapons of mass destruction were ever found, and Powell later admitted regret at the claims that led to an eventual invasion of Iraq. The Benghazi Attack. In September 2012, Islamic militants attacked U.S. diplomatic facilities in Benghazi, Libya. The death of 4 Americans caused an uproar in Washington as everyone looked for answers. A year later, television news program 60 Minutes believed they had the answers when they broke a story backed by a man who said he was in the U.S. compound the night of the assault. The security contractor Dylan Davies gave eyewitness testimony about what happened that fateful night. The only problem, though, was Davies wasn't even there that night, and his whole story was bogus. Richard Nixon. In 1972, several men were arrested for breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate Hotel. As the investigation slowly closed in on the White House, President Richard Nixon's credibility and honesty came into question. He responded to the array of allegations by holding a news conference and famously stated, in front of hundreds of reporters and cameras, "I am not a crook." As we all know, it turns out Nixon wasn't telling the truth and ended up resigning the presidency in 1974. Operation Tailwind. In June 1998, the CNN program Newsstand aired the sensational story that the U.S. military had used nerve gas in Vietnam to kill American defectors located at a camp in Laos. The supposed chemical strike had occurred in 1970 as a part of Operation Tailwind, and CNN claimed U.S. forces had used deadly sarin gas on their own men. Outcry over the story and a mountain of evidence to the contrary led CNN to retract the report and issue an apology. Bill Clinton. As we've seen more than once, when a politician's back is to the wall, they will say anything in order to keep their jobs. Even at the highest level, this holds true. In 1998, then-President Bill Clinton became caught up in a sex scandal involving White House employee Monica Lewinsky. As investigations closed in, Clinton gave his famous interview broadcast across news networks everywhere in which he categorically denied having any sort of sexual relationship with Lewinsky. Of course, we all now know the whole thing was a giant lie. Brian Williams. During the U.S. involvement in Iraq in the early 2000s, millions of people tuned in every night to watch clips of what was happening. Of course, news reporters love nothing more than to head out with the troops as a way to gain credibility and win awards. Unfortunately, when Brian Williams started telling his incredible stories from Iraq, things didn't add up. It all started with Williams reporting that his helicopter had been hit by enemy fire, and that never happened. In fact, several other of Williams' stories were so embellished or just complete lies that he was removed from his job at NBC. The Little Green Men. In 2014, instability in Ukraine spilled over into the Crimea region. Soon on television, we were seeing footage of heavily armed soldiers wearing balaclavas, but no national insignias. It was pretty obvious to most people that these were Russian soldiers sent in to stabilize the situation. But the Kremlin publicly stated that they were only local defense forces. Unsurprisingly to most, the transparent lie was shown for what it was when the little green men were eventually shown to be Russian soldiers around the time that Russia annexed the Crimea. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Do you remember any of these lies? Let us know in the comments. And while you're here, check out these other videos, and please don't forget to click like and subscribe. Thanks!